So hi, welcome back. I now have a beard. But I want to continue deepening. I want to create an atmosphere where we can speak effectively about our spiritual disease, because we don't want to sell out on the depth of the solution. So we have a twofold model with which we're trying to deal with the threefold disease. So we have a cognitive behavioral, rational animal, psychophysical, idealist empiricist model. And in every one of those doubles, there's a gap. There's a hole down the middle. But we keep trying to solve our problem in that way. And in doing that, we're behaving very much like the drunk in a story I heard early in recovery, who we find one evening on his hands and knees on the street corner under the street lamp. And somebody comes along and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he says, "Well, I'm looking for my keys." And his friend says, "Great, I'll help you find them. Where did you drop them?" "Down there," he says, pointing in the dark alley. I said, "Well, if you drop them down there, why are you looking here?" And the drunk says, "Well, this is where the light is." So we look in the light of reason. We look in what we know, and we look around us at what we can experience, because for us, that's all that exists, right? So we have a physical, experiential, mental disease. We know that we don't have peace of mind, and we know that we're like, feeling good about this. But we have a threefold disease. So if we can just keep trying to work on the rational, physical thing, we'll drive ourselves crazy. Why don't we lose weight? We have a threefold disease. When the spiritual malady is overcome, then we straighten out physically. When the spiritual malady is appropriately and sufficiently dealt with, then we will have peace of mind, mental, and at least our experience, I promise, will be a lot more interesting. Just like when we got sober, something happened spiritually, and then we didn't have to go to the bar, and we didn't, we had a whole new way to talk about being an alcoholic. It was all new. And it was a workable solution. So I want to build towards that we just don't settle for a twofold solution. And I want to point out that the twofold model isn't going to go away just because we now know about it, right? Self-knowledge avails us nothing. And it's not going to go away if we just get very rigorous, and control our behavior, because we all know that if you just deal with the symptom, the behavior, and you don't get a spiritual solution, you end up with a dry drunk. So a dry drunk or a dry under-earner isn't much better. We want to sort of shoot the gap, just like in the neurosciences have a gap, but they call it the explanatory gap between their account of subjectivity, which, why it seems like the most important thing, except scientifically it seems unobjective. And then, neurons firing. How do we account for that? Well, it's a little like that kind of mysterious thing. May even be that the deep unifier that's neither subjective nor objective is what we're looking for. But when the spiritual malady is overcome, then we straighten out physically and mentally. That's what I'm committed that we get at, and that we can get at, and that our relationship is going to be about getting there. It's not going to be about now we understand or now we can do. We will have an understanding. We will do. But somewhere's in there, I'm making you a promise that we're going to get access to something that is surprising. And I want to say, keep coming back, and I'll keep finding how can we say it because we need a healing here. That's all for today, folks.